At 6 back here at home, various groups representing street vendors are banding together and suing the city of Los Angeles over what they say is a violation of the 14th Amendment. What does that mean? Let's go to Fox 11's Chelsea Edwards live in the El Salvador corridor with more. Chelsea.
Marla, they're essentially saying that their rights have been violated. They just want to be able to continue to work legally and safely, and they're not being allowed to do so. Now, up until last week, there were about 30 vendors in this parking lot filled with everybody selling things from like fruit to toys to hot food. Now, as you can see, completely empty, and they're fighting to be allowed to come back with clear guidelines on how they can operate in peace. Now, we're standing in the El Salvador corridor. This is a 14-block stretch of Vermont Avenue from West 11th Street to Adams. This was formally recognized by the state in 2010. Now, last summer, the Office of the City Attorney filed a criminal complaint against the owners of Two Guys Plaza for zoning violations. Now, again, there were about 30 vendors here. They were paying rent to have spaces in this lot, and they had access to things like trash services and sinks and bathrooms. But activists here say the rules and regulations regarding vendors are confusing, and they vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. So it's just impossible to stay in compliance because it's not really clear what they're supposed to be in compliance of. So after numerous meetings with various offices, the vendors were then forced to pack up at the start of the new year ahead of January 18th. That's a court date, pushing many of those vendors onto sidewalks and into the surrounding neighborhoods. So today, representatives of the El Salvador Corridor Association and others announced that they're filing a lawsuit alleging violations of the Equal Protection Clause.
They're not allowing them to sell their wares across the street. That is how these people feed themselves and feed their families. And so we're not going to tolerate that. We're going to come forward and we're going to file a government claim. And I suggest to the city, if you don't want to waste taxpayer money, pass the legislation and do what needs to be done. This isn't a form of blackmail. This is what we're going to do if you don't do what you're supposed to do.
People are ready to help, but they want the license to operate. And that comes from the city of Los Angeles.
Now, the groups are also calling on the city to adopt LA's first pilot program that would make this an open-air district, essentially. It would be the first of its kind, and they're going to be talking about it more at a city council meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. during the public comment period. They're inviting others to attend if you want to speak out for street vendor rights. Reporting live from the El Salvador corridor, I'm Chelsea Edwards. I'll send it back to you.